What's up, everybody? Thank you for stopping by. I just want to welcome you guys to the first part of many. So why am I doing a series of videos? Well, I don't want to have a video that's gonna be like 5 hours long, so I'm gonna have to split it up into a lot of parts just because I'm gonna be working on a lot of things all at once. So what I'm gonna be doing is a 5-lug conversion. The reason why I have to do so much for this 5-lug conversion is because in order to convert the rear to 5-lug, I also have to convert it to a rear disc. So with that, I do have to go to the junkyard and look for a rear trailing arm, and then for the front end I have to look for knuckle and hub off of a 95 to 98 Odyssey. So there's quite a bit of stuff that goes into it, and along with the 5-lug I'm doing a little extra something, so look out for that. Alright, so let's head over to the junkyard, go grab some parts. So after battling with this car for an hour or two, finally got the rear disc trailing arms and cables off. I would say it was a pretty successful day here at the junkyard. So we got right here, we got for the front 5-lug conversion, we got Odyssey knuckles, the hub and bearing assembly and everything like that. And then right here with the rear disc trailing arms, bang, baby. So yeah, got these out. These were kind of a pain in the ball sack. Alright, so here we have the rear disc trailing arm off of a EX model with getting parts from a junkyard. Not in the best shape. Not in the best shape. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna tear this apart, kind of get it piece by piece, separate everything. I'm going to grind at everything with the wire wheel, and I'm gonna go ahead and repaint it so it looks brand new. I'm just gonna go through a little restoration process with this, and once the actual trailing arm is ready to go, from there I'm gonna go ahead and replace the bearing hub assembly with the 5-lug hub, and then it's ready to go. Meter. Oh. I'm gonna clean the knuckle up, try to get it to some clean metal, and from there I'm gonna go ahead and paint it, and then it should all be looking brand new again. I have this rear knuckle ready to go, and yeah, I'll start spraying this thing too, and then I think I'll let it set for a couple days, and then I'll start putting it back together. With the trailing arm, I decided against painting it or grinding it down or any such thing. I just decided to clean it off, you know. I got this knuckle ready for paint. I got it all masked up and everything. About to start spraying the first coat, and we'll see how it goes right here. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to start off with is the hub. Pretty much just getting the hubs ready themselves. So the first thing I'm going to do is take these studs out, and then I'm going to put the ARP studs in. I know there's 150 videos out there on YouTube showing how to replace your stock studs with ARP studs. I know. So I'm not really going to get heavy into it on details. Gotta bang these studs out. Pretty much they come out from the back. I have to do this whole little ghetto rig thing with the blocks of wood, because if I were to set it on the ground, then I could be damaging the actual bearing. So I don't want to do that. I'm angling the blocks of wood like this so it can support this side, since I'm going to be banging on this one. I got it all banged out. It's looking very empty. This is the stock stud. This stud looks like it drives a big lifted truck. And then this is the ARP stud. So Here is a side-by-side comparison. This is you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. Extra thread on this, since I'm going to be running spacers. There are multiple ways you can install these bad boys. Shit. So, boom, put them in. Make sure the knurls line up somewhere and kind of lock up. As soon as the knurls kind of make contact, they'll stop spinning. So that's what you're looking for. There are a couple ways. You can use an air hammer, hammer them in to the bottom. What most people tend to do is get some type of spacer system all the way up here, and you get an open end lug nut and tighten it. And so by tightening it, you're pretty much just pulling the stud out. But the main thing is you want to eliminate that space and make sure that the stud gets seated properly. Alright, and there you have it. I just finished putting the studs on the hub. I just put the rear rotor over it. Doesn't that just look way more aggressive? Look at that. I just love the way the extended ARP studs look. Now that we have the 5-lug hubs ready to go with my new ARP studs, we're ready to pretty much put the rear suspension together. Right here we have the knuckle all ready to go, trailing arm, and then I'm just gonna kind of show you guys putting it together. So I didn't go over this earlier, I probably should have, but I'm just gonna give you a rundown as to the parts that you need for the 5-lug conversion. So the main thing you're looking and changing on your setup is gonna be the hub bearing assembly. This is coming out of a 97 to 01 Honda Prelude. So you're just gonna wanna grab that. And then if you do not already have rear discs on your CB7, then you are gonna need to convert over to rear discs in order to do a 5-lug. So with that said, you're gonna wanna look for the rear trailing arm assembly, like pretty much just like the rear suspension. So rear trailing arm and knuckle out of the EX model that comes with rear discs. So if you do not already have rear discs, you will have to head over to Junkyard or something like that and look for this whole setup to do a rear disc. Then you can go ahead and do the 5-lug. So I'm pretty much doing it all at once since I have rear drums. So enough talking, let's get right to it. I'm gonna start putting everything together. So when you're throwing this all together, easy way to put it back together is just remember that this bolt right here for the brake line going out, and this bolt right here needs to go to the inside, so this way. And another thing that can kind of keep you going in the right direction as well is the trailing arm. This part that sticks up, see how it swoops up more on this side, that goes up. And then you're just gonna want to put it on the outside bolts right here like that. And then this brake line assembly, this thing is pretty important. This is one of the mounting brackets to put it together. So just remember that the hard line goes in front of the knuckle over here, and then you want to have your nuts ready to go. So you have this guy. You have the trailing arm now connected to the knuckle. So from there you can see your brake lines kind of go right here. You can see this, you have this little groove right here. You're gonna put that groove, make sure it goes in that groove. Bang, look at that. And over here you have this, where this mounts up to the actual knuckle itself. Let's move over to getting the actual bracket that mounts up to the car on this boy. Alright, and when it comes to putting this bracket on, a good tip is gonna be, you wanna make sure that the side, the sharper side, the side that goes to a point, goes this way or to the front of the car. So you need to like actually kind of wiggle it on there, make sure it gets placed right. And there's no nut because the nut is actually on this side. It's actually attached to this bracket. So just get that on there and thread it through. Good tip is don't tighten this up all the way to where it stays stuck. Wait till you actually kind of get the correct angle on your car, because you don't want to tighten it to have it like, let's just say you tighten it right here, you know, and that's gonna be drooping down too much. you don't want to tighten it and actually once it gets mounted up you move it, so then you're going to be putting a lot of stress on the actual bushing right here. So you want to tighten it once you already have it like positioned on the car, how it's going to be. Next thing I'm going to do is get this guy on here. So an easy way to remember how this goes is you want this to be bending down. You want this to go in, not out. And then obviously you want the cutout to be where the caliper goes. So there's that. Alright, next up, let's get this little brake line bracket bolted up. And then before actually putting the hub on, make sure you do tighten these up right here. Don't need to go crazy tight, but just get them on there. Perfect fit. Alright, and then when you get this on there, just notice this has a little locking key. You want to make sure that matches up with this right here. I don't think there's any other way you could get it on, but just get that on there. And just tighten this. You just want to get, I think this is a 32 mil. You just want to tighten that, make sure it goes in. And then you're going to notice there's still a little groove right there on the actual like shaft. And you just want to, if you see the nut right there, you just want to get a hammer chisel and just lock the nut in by just bending it into that little slot. Other than that, I'm gonna get everything tightened up and let's see how it looks with the actual rotor on. So now let's get everything tightened up. So these nuts right here are actually 17s. These that mount the brake lines on are 12s. Don't tighten these too much. And this one's a 17. Like I said, don't tighten it too much. What I'm gonna do is just go ahead and tighten it until it just makes contact right here. And then from there, once I'm actually installing it, then I can tighten it more. And now that you got that bolted up, let's see how this looks. Dang, look how cute that is. Yeah, a little baby rotor. So there's that. And just as a special treat for you guys, I'm gonna mount the caliper up just so you can kind of see how the caliper and everything goes on there, and then mounting up the parking brake cable and everything like that. Even though I'm not quite ready to mount this just because I gotta paint it still. And to get the caliper mounted on, I'm just gonna want to, there's a bolt down there, there's a bolt up there to mount the bracket onto this. I'm just going to tighten these up. So now that you have your caliper mounted onto the knuckle assembly over here, next thing you do is get the parking brake cable mounted onto the actual caliper back here. So you're going to want to grab your bolts that you should have kept safe. Alright, they should be 12 millimeters. So they should be 12 millimeters. Just get those on there. So get the actual end of the cable installed onto the actual mechanism right here. To get those on, it's pretty much just gonna be this right here. Just want to get it in between. You just want to get this in between these right here. Make sure the holes line up, and then there's a little pin, and you just put this little locking pin on the hole right there. It's as simple as just pressing it in all the way. So once you get that all locked in place, the next thing to do is to just get this dust boot on. So this pretty much just goes on like this. So if you look at it, you'll see one side's kind of flat, then one has this big side. You want to make sure the big side goes up to the top and covers this up. So you can see there's one bolt that goes right here on this side. Oopsies. Yep, one bolt that goes right there on that side. And then one's going to go down in the bottom right here. So on the actual on the actual cable bracket itself. So then once you have it there, so on the actual trailing arm, there's one bolt down here. That's where this gets mounted on. So like I said, I'm just kind of doing this just to show you guys how you would put this all together. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart again, and then I'm gonna get the calipers painted soon. Comment down below if there's a color you think I should paint these calipers. And then last thing you'll want to do is make sure you connect the brake line right there. Bang. But I think I'm going to be doing some stainless steel braided lines, so I don't care about that right now. There you have it. There's your assembly. Get some brake pads on there and you should be all good to go. Make sure whenever you're installing the rotor, make sure you clean it with brake parts cleaner, because these do come with the coating to prevent them from corrosion, everything like that, and that's not good when it's rubbing against your brake pad. So make sure you do clean it off with some brake cleaner, and from there should be all good to go. Alright, so that wraps this video up. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys did find anything useful or learned something new today, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. And if you guys are looking forward to seeing some progress on my car, keep an eye out for my next video where I set up the front 5-lug conversion, and I have a little bonus in there as well. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you do want to see me installing all these parts into my car. With the 5-lug comes new wheels as well, but not gonna show them until I actually do the installation. So keep an eye out for that, hit subscribe. And as always, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Later.